Greetings, programs. This is Wretch. Welcome back to Vampire the Masquerade, Reckoning of New York. And in the last episode, guys, with Kaiser's charming help, both Kali and Patty were able to go into a circulatory system facility and get the information that they were looking for. And Kali has discovered that she didn't really know her sire at all because he's gotten involved in some really bad things. So she's trying to process that right now. She's about to head to a haven to sleep, but it looks like we've got multiple options here. We can continue on with the main story. We also have a feeding opportunity and a detour called Blood and Cigarettes. So I don't think we need to feed necessarily. We are maxed out in terms of our view, the alert status, but yeah, let's see what happens here. The buffet's stacked. Plenty of mortals roaming around late at night. So what's going to be on the menu tonight? Maybe those two lovebirds who've been strolling down the same path as me? Shadows tighten with each echoing step. Oh dear. It hits me that something's off when I notice this fumbling idiot, who crashed in some trash cans a few blocks back, is still following me. Could be a coincidence in a city as big and chaotic as New York, but hell no. I've zigzagged across streets and flipped sides more times than I can count during this short walk. There's no denying it, no matter how much I want to stick to my original route. This creep is definitely on my tail. Considering the crap I've seen, it's not far-fetched to think it could be a hunter, but damn, I've been way off more times than I'd like to admit. Pick up the pace or gauge his intentions, we're going to assume that his intentions are not nice and we need to get out of here. I'm taking 0 chances here. Following D'Angelo's sage advice, I speed up. Nothing dramatic, just enough to not turn heads but guaranteed to make any mere mortal bust a lung or two. But even so, this dude seems glued to me. What's he on? Meth? Or something worse, like zeal? Shit. Guess I was right. And if this creep's a hunter, it's time to haul ass and vanish before a whole squad of them shows up. I dart into a dark, secluded alleyway, intending to shake this stalker off for good. But surprise, surprise, turns out the alleyway is not so secluded after all. There's this guy leaning against a filthy brick wall, eyes locked on the main street, and by extension, on me. Unlike the fumbling idiot, he's got that distinct blank gaze, a look I've already learned to hate and clock at first sight. A hunter. Of course. When it rains, it just fucking monsoons. After all the hunter-related crap of the last few nights, the idea of even brushing past this one makes me want to hurl. So I do a quick about turn and almost walk straight into my stalker, who seems to have found a new sidekick. And they both have the same bone-chilling stare. I've kept my supernatural stuff under wraps recently, haven't I? I'm pretty sure I haven't pulled any stunts out in the open. But the second all 3 of them reach under their jackets and whip out wooden stakes and a very nasty-looking flare gun, the details of my fuck-ups become irrelevant. Fuck my own life. Oh well. No way but the hard way. Daunt or Cloak of Shadows. Meet my best friend Woody. Yeah, I think it's discipline time for sure. Cloak of Shadows, let's just, some presents. Hopefully they're not immune to it. I spin around, bringing all 3 of them into my line of sight. Straighten up to my full height and let out a hiss, fangs bared, spitting and snarling, thrashing my head wildly like some feral creature. The fucking queen of the damned. A terrifying presence radiates off me, stopping the hunters in their tracks and freezing them like statues. In a burst of inhuman speed, I barrel straight into them, slamming 2 against the wall hard enough to crack ribs, sounds like. The third asshole tries to shoot a flare at me, but I'm on him before he can blink, knocking the gun out of his hand and raking my nails across his eye. I don't stick around to see the aftermath. I'm out of that alley in a blur, pushing my legs to their absolute limit. I can hear them scrambling behind me, spewing profanities and shouting at each other, or perhaps at me. Who gives a shit? Oh, we escaped a Takes a good few minutes of all-out sprinting before I feel safe enough to take cover behind a dumpster. I wait and wait, observing the street quietly, but nobody comes searching for me with pitchforks and torches. Not this time, at least. It seems I managed to get away by the skin of my teeth. In peak Ravna style. Still, all that running around ate up way too much time. Guess I'm skipping that detour tonight. Ooh. Well, there went our hunger opportunity. Looks like we're still good, though, and we've lowered the alert status. Time for another detour. Blood and cigarettes. I don't know what to do anymore. Thinking is a dead end, but clearly my head seems equally out of reach. I've got to at least try to get my shit together, or I might as well cut off my own head before the sheriff does it for me. As I try to piece together the scattered details of the past few nights, less likely it seems that tomorrow will end on a high note. For me, at least. Aside from Padraig, I have no allies in Elysium. Forget allies. I'd settle for anyone who doesn't despise me at this point. But earning neutrality, let alone favor, seems like a tall order when I have nothing but half-baked leads. Honestly, I'd rather fixate on my impending doom. Any other thoughts just make me want to collapse and melt into the slush. And deciding where to crash tonight? Forget it. I've got two wolves inside of me, and both are assholes. So, I wander around just trying to clear my head. Because honestly, I don't even know what to think anymore. My mind's racing so fast it could win a drag race even with a trunk full of tofu. Where did that thought even come from? I lift my eyes, realizing I haven't looked up in like half an hour. The fact that I didn't accidentally stroll into some sketchy alley and straight into a hunter party, again, is nothing short of a miracle. But I don't recognize this area at all. Nothing really pops. Just some storefronts dripping with holiday cheer and a fast food spot I've never heard of before. Big Beat Burger. Oh, is that... Okay, I think I know who we're going to run into, especially with the blood and cigarettes. Oh, there's some local color for you. I should really get moving. The night is... Why do I always bump into the most unlikely people in the most unlikely places? I turn around, and it's Julia, stepping right out of that fast food joint. That was the place that she hung out in the shadows of New York. Fuck. How... But, seeing as you've wandered into my territory, I guess you're just stalking me. Which, just so you know, I'm not a fan of. Stalking? You literally just walked out of... Why would I even stalk you? Julia pulls out a pack of cigarettes without breaking eye contact. Clearly, to butter me up and get me on your side tomorrow night. What else? Damn. Why didn't I think of that? And really, you couldn't have chosen a worse target. You won't sweet-talk anything out of me. I already have a soft spot for underdogs. Reynard is an absolute asshole, but he got one thing right. I'm shit when it comes to politicking. Well, sorry, not sorry to disappoint. I was just moping around, not trying to pull any grand schemes. But hey, thanks for the vote of confidence. She gives a hollow laugh and lights her cigarette. We share a quiet moment for a bit, and just when the silence starts to feel unbearably heavy, it's not at the fast food joint. I wouldn't have guessed you into beef and fries. Julia just shrugs dismissively. Consider it my personal hangout. Costs me a cup of coffee a night and comes with a few perks. Like, what kind of perks? She flashes a mischievous smile, and I immediately know it's better not to dig any further. So I assume your little investigation didn't turn up much? Castle's still off the radar? I just nod, feeling defeated. I mean, we dug up a giant pile of shit, and guess who's smack dab in the middle of it? Ray... She raises her hand to stop me. Keep the details to yourself. I'm not the one you should be confessing to anyway. Plus, I'd rather not have to pretend to be surprised tomorrow night. Just tell me how you feel about what you've uncovered. Suddenly, I'm mentally dragged through the past 3 nights. The memories crashing into my mind uninvited. I feel like I've got nothing solid, just a mess of he said, she said, with some guesses in the mix. Honestly, I feel like shit, both about what we found and all of the implications. Julia watches me quietly for a moment, assessing me, maybe. It's hard to read the expression in those pale eyes of hers. She takes a long drag of her cigarette before speaking. Just a little friendly advice, Callie. Whatever you decide to do, however you plan to handle this mess, don't hold back. Keep up the momentum. Push hard. Don't even think of falling. Because if you show up looking as dejected as you do now, they'll dismantle you piece by piece and eat you alive. And that would be a real shame. She crushes her cigarette under her heel and starts to walk away. Cheer up a little, would you? Your face looks like sour milk. Yeah, thanks. She looks back, giving me a sidelong glance. What for? I didn't even see you here, let alone give you any advice. She fades into the night, leaving me with more questions than answers. And maybe, just maybe, a spark that might grow one night into a less shitty version of what I feel right now. I need to get a move on, though. The dawn's almost here. That was worth it. I mean, Julia seems to have a nice little, niche for herself. Same river twice. If I hit an astronomical level of bad luck, crashing at Padraig's once more will probably turn me into a sorry pile of ash she'll have to sweep up at sundown. Like, with a broom. But after all the crap we found out about Reynard, I honestly couldn't care less. I've been trying to get my shit together for the last hour, just walking these damn streets of New York. Spoiler alert, it's not working. I don't even know why I told Patty to leave me alone. I usually keep people close to stop my brain from going to dark places. It turns out, too much me time just lets the shitty feelings take over. And the simple fact of putting one foot in front of the other doesn't soothe the anger, the hurt, the betrayal. These emotions cling to me like leeches, refusing to let go. All that crap, the gestures, the pep talks, our gigs making me think we had a bond. Fucking lies, all of it. It's just hurts. So yeah, I'm still a mess inside. My gritted teeth keeping the dry tears at bay. Right now, I'd seriously rather chew off my own tongue than give Reynard the satisfaction of hearing me sob. Fuck all that. Every part of me is screaming for some kind of release, some justice. I even have this crazy urge to just smash anything about me that reminds me of Reynard. But honestly, what would even be left of me? If that dickhead's already met his final death, I swear to God, if I could find his ashes, I'd spit on them. Shit. Who am I kidding? I'm such a pathetic loser, I'd probably forgive him in a second if he came back. Even if he doesn't give a damn. Christ, this sucks so much. But it doesn't matter. The dawn's coming up fast and it's time to settle down for the day. And I could use some company, even if it means potentially screwing myself over by crashing twice in the same place so soon. A shred of clarity returns to my mind eventually. I find myself staring at Patty's Haven across the street, my hand still trembling from the shitstorm of emotions I'm barely keeping under control. I know I shouldn't be here, I shouldn't be risking my ass, but right now I'm so over everything that I seriously don't give a fuck. Bang on the door? Sure. I throw my hand up and bang it against the wood. The sound rips through the silent night like a gunshot. Padraig, it's me. The door creaks open and there's Patty with an armful of books. He moves quickly, letting me into the safety of his haven. Hey, come in. Sun's about to rise. Everything is exactly where it should be. Nothing out of place. Not even the couch. You didn't oversell it. The couch is definitely still here. I guess it's too far too old to sprout legs and walk off. He grins at me, a bit too confident in the quality of his joke. I know it's not stylish, but I'm quite fond of it nevertheless. Let's say it's charmingly dilapidated. Would you rather use the bed tonight? It wouldn't be any... I throw my hand up and immediately cut him off. No, that's okay. Just making sure we won't find ourselves in the infamous only one bed situation. Patty tilts his head, an unspoken question hanging in the air. I mean, you're into all that bookish stuff. I thought... Never mind. It's nothing. Believe me. He nods and goes back to whatever he was sorting on his shelves. I take that as my cue to slip away to the corner of the couch. I'm too tired to speak, which is rare for me. I shut my eyes briefly, fingers tapping restlessly on the legs. It's a futile effort to calm the lingering irritation. My movements only seem to stir it up more. Care to share what's on your mind? Your thoughts are so loud they practically blend in with my voices. No rest for the wicked, huh? I'm just going through my list of excuses for tomorrow night. Because, I'd like to keep my head where it is. Are you thinking of anything in particular? I don't even think... Not really. But I'm just desperate. I'd like to know your thoughts on it, though. The background noise of shifting books and fluttering pages stops, and the couch sinks with the added weight right next to me. Council doesn't have a stellar track record lately when it comes to making rational decisions. However, the web of Yesiah's connections is extensive, which absolves you of direct involvement. Council has no reason to put you down. His tone is soothing, yet decisive. What happened is not your fault, Callie. I'll stand by you tomorrow. That's a promise. I must look like a hot mess, because Patty's expression is one of concern. His brow creased, lips parted, eyes searching mine. He pauses, assessing the moment before carefully invading my personal space. A flicker of total surprise crosses my face before I can mask it. His hand moves behind me, and I hear a soft click as he clasps something into his hand. I almost forgot. You'll make better use of them. Confused, I look down to see what he's handed me. Batteries? For my trusty old Walkman that's been a paperweight for the last 3 nights? It's such a nice gesture, but instead of joy, there's this sad twist in my gut. It feels pointless, like all of it. Right now, picking a tune feels as grim as choosing my last meal. Are you sure you're all right? Nope. I'm a mess. Yeah, everything's fine. Thanks. I guess I'm just not really in the mood for music right now. But I really appreciate the thought. I manage a shaky smile, my voice quivering a bit. He nods, totally gets that I need some space, and gives me room to breathe. I flop down on the couch, totally wiped. I shove 2 batteries into the Walkman and the rest into my belt bag. Then my hand brushes against the wooden stake, its gritty texture just another shitty reminder of the end I've been dodging night after night. I grip it as if I could scrub away the mix of anger, desperation, and fear brewing like a storm in my chest. I've handled storms before, but this one? It's dark, man. Really dark. Creeping into every freaking shadowy corner of my brain and just sticking there. I grip the stake even harder as the all-too-familiar darkness slowly descends upon my mind. Earlier that night, When you talk about cleansing New York from the so-called rot underneath, Mr. Fletcher, is this part of your elaborate campaign to position yourself in the oncoming mayoral election? Mayoral? Yeah. It's not about political ambition. It's about addressing issues that have been neglected for far too long. New York is facing challenges that can't be solved by traditional governance alone. I'm talking about deep, systemic problems that require unconventional approaches. Unconventional, like claiming you have, quote, enough manpower to clean up the entire city? What exactly does that entail? Because to our viewers, it sounds just like a threat of vigilante justice. What I mean by manpower is having the right team with the right skills and dedication. It's not about taking the law into our own hands. It's about supporting the city in ways that current infrastructure can't. But what are these deep, systemic problems that you're so eager to fight? You're being rather vague, Mr. Fletcher. Let's just say there are threats to this city that aren't as visible or as easily quantified as crime rates or economic data. They're far more insidious. And while I can't divulge the specifics, I assure you that you won't have to wait long to see the results of our initiative. Mr. Fletcher, with all due respect, it all sounds like the plot of a science fiction novel. How do you expect the public to take you seriously when you speak in riddles? I understand the skepticism. I'm a stalwart believer in transparency, and in due time, everything will be made clear. Right now, it's about laying the groundwork for a safer, stronger New York. Well, let's be frank. Your narrative is stirring more confusion and concern than confidence. Are you really suggesting there's a hidden danger so severe that it requires a controversial character like you to step in and save the day? It's not about me playing hero, no. It's simply about tackling issues that have been overlooked for longer than... I'm sorry, Mr. Fletcher, but we're out of time. Thank you for joining us here today. But, this just in, folks. The Times Square Ball's new color for this New Year's Eve will be announced very soon, and I'm sure many of you have been waiting for... Ooh. The system. Complete the system chapter. Well, let's go ahead and end the night. Will that lower the 3 nights till the new year? Usually the first thing that hits me when I blink awake is this boundless black void, staring at me the same way I stare into its perfect nothingness. It disappears in a beat, and all I'm left with is this nagging thought that I missed something important. Ooh, there's the hunger up. I never wake up groggy. I'm wired as soon as the sun dips, like I've been faking sleep all day. Not this night, though. Tonight, exhaustion floods in, overwhelming me like a tsunami. I feel buried alive, suffocated under the weight of the murky water. I can't spend another day in Patty's Haven. Staying here 2 nights in the same week is really pushing it. Not that I'm counting on having a chance to, given what's in my schedule. Strangely, I'm kind of getting used to this pad. It's no Ritz, but it's got this vibe of safety that I'm low-key desperate for. Patty's up already, and I hate to admit it, but having him around isn't as awful as I initially thought. He's just there, lost in the gritty view of the Bronx, playing with his ring like he always does when something's bugging him. I take a quick look past him at the murky, starless sky. Then, a memory crashes in, uninvited. It wasn't long after my embrace, like about a year ago. We had this wild gig out in Nevada. Nothing to get sentimental about, but we were road tripping in 2 RVs. Me and Raynard in the lead, the rest of our gang tailing us. Completely out of nowhere, Raynard grabs the wheel and veers us straight into the desert, leaving the others far behind. We come to a stop in no time, and Raynard's already bouncing out and scaling the RV to get to the roof when I'm like, what the actual hell? He just pulls me up there with him. And wow. Just wow. This absolute darkness, with a sky so thick with stars it could make anyone feel dizzy, I swear to God. I could have kept on loving that life, drifting from state to state with my gang, my family. But everything's gone to hell because of Raynard. So why do I have to be the one paying for his shit? And why can't I even bring myself to hate him? I pound my fist into the couch. Dust swirls up from the cushions, floating eerily in the dim candlelight. Let's go. They're probably waiting for us already. Let's get this over with. Yeah, there's no point dragging this out and pissing them off even more. Nothing to do but get my shit together and pray that Lady Luck has my back. Still, it's hard for me to move. It's like I'm glued to the couch. The silence fills the room with all that's unspoken. And then his voice, soft and almost imperceptible, cuts through the veil. Listen. Here comes the pity party. If you're gonna start with that... Golly, come down and hear me out. Just this once, without interrupting. The shift in tone, it's enough to make me zip my lip, which says a lot. Look, I can't promise you a rosy outcome. No pep talk either. You're too clever for that. What I can promise is that I'll be there for you and do my best to convince the council to let you go. I just nod, kind of dazed. His words, so raw and sincere, anger me to this moment more than ever, providing a strange sort of comfort. So, are you ready? Not really. Yeah. Let's just go. We head to the perfectly serviceable car in silence. Not gonna lie, I'm gonna miss this old clunker and Patty's bizarre attachment to it. I shut the door behind me and slump into the seat, too anxious to fill the silence with my usual ramblings. Whew. Bad Omens main quest. Alright guys, we gotta march right back into the Hornet's Den and see if we can get through this with Callie keeping her head. So I think this is a good place to go ahead and call it an episode. I'm still wondering kind of what's all there's a lot of pieces moving in the background, a lot of different players. Now, are they all kind of allied like we've seen with the circulatory system? Are they all going to come to a head here soon? Like, this is the Reckoning of New York, so it'll be very interesting to see what finally happens when I have this feeling that the keg is already lit, it just hasn't exploded yet. But yeah, I hope you all have enjoyed it. If you liked the episode, please leave a like down below. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, that'd be a big help. And we'll see you next time. Later days, everyone.